Many people see exactly what's happening right now. The problem isn't blindness, it's the price of naming what we see. In a moment like this, integrity isn't about being loud or fearless. It's about refusing to let fear talk us out of what we already know. Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. There was a time when telling the truth mostly cost you discomfort, an awkward conversation, maybe a tense holiday dinner. That's not where we are anymore. Now people are watching colleagues lose their jobs for speaking honestly. Institutions rewrite reality in real time. Loyalty is rewarded. Dissent is punished, often quietly. People are learning which words can cost them a career, which questions can cost them community, and which truths are safest left unspoken. And many of us are learning, often without anyone saying it out loud, that seeing clearly is no longer the hard part. Acting on what we see is. This isn't confusion, it's coercion. I've talked before about illusion, about the story where everyone insists the naked emperor is wearing clothes. In that story, people stayed silent because they were fooled or because they were afraid of looking foolish. But in this very real moment, many people are silent because they know exactly what they're seeing, and they're counting the cost of naming it. The emperor isn't the problem anymore. The price of telling the truth is. Integrity in this moment isn't about being loud or visible. It's about refusing to let coercion sever our inner alignment with what we know to be true. Look, I know it's scary to take a stand. I've been accused more than once of not taking clear enough stands, of being too cautious, too nuanced, too unwilling to draw hard lines. And some of that is true. I can usually see multiple sides of an issue. And yes, sometimes I'm afraid of the blowback. So I'm not speaking from some lofty position of fearless conviction. But what makes integrity especially frightening right now isn't just disagreement or criticism. It's the coercion involved. And the thing about coercion is that it doesn't have to be explicit. No one has to threaten you directly. We watch what happens to other people. We see who gets punished, who gets isolated, and who quietly disappears. And we learn. When the consequences are visible enough, enforcement becomes unnecessary. People begin to police themselves. So people stay silent, not because they don't care, not because they don't see what's happening, but because they're trying to survive. Yet, when people are being harmed, when cruelty is being normalized, when whole groups of people are treated as expendable, integrity stops being abstract. Integrity matters deeply. Integrity doesn't mean having a take on everything. It doesn't mean posting the right words or saying the bravest thing in every room. And it doesn't mean sacrificing your livelihood, your safety, or your family just to prove that you're sincere. Integrity, at its core, is about coherence. It's about not splitting yourself in two, one self that knows what's happening and another that pretends it isn't. When we repeat things we know aren't true or stay silent in ways that slowly erode our sense of right and wrong, something inside us fractures. And that fracture doesn't stay private. It shows up as numbness, exhaustion, or despair. In moments like this, integrity often looks small. It looks like refusing to laugh at cruelty. It looks like not passing along what you know is false. It looks like choosing your moments carefully instead of burning yourself out all at once. These choices don't make headlines, but they keep your inner compass intact. And that profoundly matters. History tells the story of people who remain internally aligned, who don't surrender their sense of truth. And they're often the ones who recognize the moment to act. I keep thinking about Viola Luzo. She was a mother. She chose to go south during the Selma marches in the 1960s. She used her body, her car, and her presence to protect others. Then she was killed for it. That kind of courage matters. It changed the course of history, and it deserves to be named honestly without softening the cost. But here's the part I don't want us to miss. The civil rights movement wasn't carried forward by one kind of courage alone. It was sustained by an entire ecosystem of integrity. There were people who stood in the streets, and there were people who stayed alive long enough to tell the truth about what they saw, so the rest of the country couldn't say it didn't know. Some acts were visibly heroic. Others were quietly faithful. What mattered wasn't the sameness. It was alignment. People acted in ways that matched what they knew to be true within the risks they could live with. And that's what integrity asks of us now. Not that we all make the same sacrifice, not that we all speak in the same way, but that we refuse to let coercion hollow us out from the inside, that we don't make peace with harm, that we stay internally aligned so when the moment comes, when we feel that call to action, we recognize it. You don't have to shout. You don't have to be fearless. Just don't let fear talk you out of what you already know. The emperor is still naked. But this story was never really about the emperor. It's about whether love keeps us aligned with the truth we can see, even when naming that truth is costly. Love calls us to integrity. And listening to that quiet inner voice, refusing to make peace with harm, may be one of the most necessary forms of courage we have right now, and one of the truest acts of love. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.